this is the recipe for how you make the Biga, which is the first step of the pizza dough. So what Biga is it's a pre-ferment. So it's kind of like a shaggy, stringy dough that sits in the fridge for 2 days before you actually go ahead and make the pizza. What it does, basically, it just allows the flavors to develop without the gluten to really, without allowing the gluten to really develop. So it's not going to come like a dough. In the end, it's going to be in pieces. You'll add water, a specific amount of water to this, and then you're going to get the dough. So for this, you need 300 grams of water. Doesn't really matter if it doesn't have to be cold or hot or anything, just room temperature water is fine. That's 300 grams of water. You need 4 grams of active dry yeast. Then you need 600 grams of flour. So what we do is you have your water, you're gonna take the yeast, just mix it in there. It doesn't have to be extremely well mixed at this point. Just put it in there to incorporate. You'll know the yeast is good if most of it sinks. So you take your 600 grams of flour, you mix it in the water, and you're just tossing it together. Just use your fingers. Oh. This gets mixed for no more than, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 minutes. It's almost done. You're just basically looking to have the any loose flour sort of be incorporated, but you're trying to keep it in these strands. So it kind of looks like a torn up cloth or a rag or a mop or something like that. You're not looking for this to look like a dough. Okay, so that's Biga. That's what it should look like. It's very stringy and shaggy. We're gonna take that and put it into a container. You kind of want a bit of a taller and more narrow container so that it prevents it from all spreading out. You want it to kind of grow upwards. I'm gonna toss it in this container. Then what I usually do with this is as soon as I'm done making it, like right now, I would put a piece of saran wrap over top of the container and then seal it with the lid. Leave it on the counter for about 1 hour and then put it in the fridge for 48 hours until you're ready to make the pizza dough. Just gonna show you the next step here to making the dough. You'll need a large bowl, so we're gonna mix it by hand. This is 90 grams of tap water. That's at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're gonna need 12 grams of sea salt. Table salt would be okay as well. And then your previously made Biga. I've got the bowl here. It's not a great deal of water. I'm going to kind of tear apart the Biga and sprinkle it into the water. And hopefully it remained kind of stringy here, like it's still more in pieces. It's sort of become a little bit like one mass, but it still tears apart very easily and the stringy pieces are still there. And this part takes a little while before you can get it into a smooth dough. If you have a mixer, when you do get yourself a mixer for this, it does make it a little easier, but by hand works just fine too. So here I've got the Biga. I can sprinkle my salt in now. And with one hand, I'm gonna start just trying to get that water through the biga. And you're gonna notice that unlike, a normal dough, it's already a lot more hydrated than what we're used to seeing at this point. So when you look at it, it looks very, very wet, but eventually the water is gonna work its way into that dry biga. And if we keep working it, it'll eventually turn into a nice smooth dough. So this, you probably need to knead this for anywhere between 12 and 15 minutes. It's gonna feel really wet and slimy for a while. Resist the urge for sure to add flour. It's going to seem like it needs flour, but it definitely doesn't need any more at all. Eventually you're gonna find that it'll clean the bowl nicely and it'll be perfect. It just, it's that biga that needs to absorb the water that we've put in. This dough, when it's done, will give you a 65% hydrated dough, which is pretty much standard for wood ovens. The standard is usually 65 to 70%. So I'm gonna keep at this for about another 10 minutes. Make sure you're getting all the lumps out of it. As you're kneading this, you're going to find that it's going to feel a little lumpy under the fingers because there's all those dry bits of flour and dough and biga. So you want to get it basically to a smooth, consistent ball. And I'm going to keep going for another 10 minutes or so. I've transferred it to the counter. So as you can see, it's still very lumpy and very wet. I'm going to leave it for 5 to 10 minutes just to allow all the water to soak in. Okay, so now the dough is coming along. It's almost done. While you're trying to smoothen it out, you can also just get it as a ball and roll it around on your counter. So you're forcing it to become a little smoother. So after I washed my hands, I took some flour and I lightly floured my hands just to help dry them as well. I just rubbed the flour through there. So when you come back to the dough, it's not just gonna be as sticky as it once was. So you can flour your hands up a little. It can help. You may even wanna have the flour right next to you just to get a little flour on them. Definitely trying not to add more flour to the dough. The little bit on your hands won't hurt anything. So this whole process in a mixer would have been basically putting the biga and the water together and the salt, allowing the dough hook to go to just mix it on a higher speed for a little while. It would be really wet and kind of sloppy the way it was before. And then when it would turn into a ball, at that point you would put the mixer onto low speed and it would just knead it as a ball. And it's about a 10-12 minute process altogether. By hand, obviously, it's a little more of a task and you kind of have to get a feel for it. What I do when I knead the dough is I grab the end of it, fold it over on itself, and then push with the heel of my hand. Then I turn it 90 degrees, pull it, and do it. Push it in with the heel of your hand, and you turn it, and you keep pushing it. Do this for another 3-4 minutes, and then that'll be it. You could use any plastic container, even a cookie sheet or whatever, it really doesn't matter, and you could cover it with plastic wrap. But in the proofing box, we sprinkle some flour on the bottom. So what I do is just, I'm gonna portion it off into 250 gram dough balls using the scale. So if it takes a couple pieces, it's fine. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take that. This is gonna make it's a 250 gram dough ball. And I'm going to kind of stretch it apart and keep folding it underneath itself. So I keep pulling off to the sides, keep folding it underneath itself. If you need to get a little bit of flour on your hands, you can. You want to keep pulling it apart and creating a ball, and using your index and your thumb, you can kind of squeeze around it, pushing your hands to the bottom and causing it to come upwards. So it's like you're trying to grab around it, but with the other finger underneath, you're pushing it up. And you can also use your thumb to push from underneath. And then basically what I'm looking to do is pinch the bottom. Another way to do it is to put it down. So this would be like a completed dough ball that'd be ready to put in the proofing basket, or in the proofing container. So you could also put it on the counter and using the sides of your hands, keep spinning it around in a circle. And as you're squeezing it together, it's sort of pinching the bottom. And while at the same time, it's creating a tighter top to the dough ball. And then I take that and place it inside the proofing basket, and that's... But another way to do it too, you may like this way as well. You basically take it and fold it over on itself and push down on it. And just keep folding it over and pushing it down and turning it so that always ending up at the top. So you basically fold it over itself 3 or 4 times until you create a ball. And then you can finish it off just on the counter. And that's another way. They can stay in here for 3 hours at room temperature. I'm gonna put the lid on and cover them. So to get your dough, you wanna sprinkle a little bit of flour so it sort of gets underneath. And the one thing you wanna make sure is that when you go to grab the dough, that the edge doesn't curl under and get caught. Okay, so I use this is that stainless steel spatula, and you wanna kind of just get under the edge and then scoop it up. Now we gotta make sure we remember which was the top side of the dough. So we take that, we dip it in some semolina. Semolina is a really dry type of flour. I'm gonna use a wooden board for stretching. I like to take some flour and rub it right into the board so that the board is really slippery. I don't even need to keep the flour on it. I can pretty much get rid of it, but now the board is slippery for stretching. I'm gonna take my dough, so the top side that was facing up is now facing down in the semolina, and flip it over, give a little bit to the bottom. When I put it down, I just need to remember this was the top side. We start by taking our fingers, going right to the center, and kind of carefully and gently pushing down in the center, trying to flatten the center, taking extra care not to pop or push out any of the air that is going toward the crust. So once we have a disc like that, take it and flip it over. This is the bottom. I'm gonna do the same, starting at the center, working my way out. You can turn it wherever you like. And turn it back to the correct side facing up. And so the stretching technique looks like this. We're gonna go across the top part of the dough, flattening as we go, and grabbing with our hand, making sure not to grab the crust, but grabbing underneath, and pulling and holding down the dough with the other hand, putting it over this side of the edge of your hand, and turning it. So now it's turned 90 degrees. I move across the top, flattening, pull, turn it 90 degrees. So you're just slapping it like that. And every time you bring it down, it's stretching and getting wider and wider. And depending on how the dough is, you may or may not want to do it too many times, just till you get the dough about 2/3 stretched. So this is going to be a 12-inch dough. This is probably about 10 inches right now. That's when we would dress it. So this is for a margherita pizza with just with just a bit of tomato and some fresh mozzarella. So we take our tomato, we spread it in the center. The pizza's a little smaller right now than it will be once we put it onto the peel. So here's one of the pizzas completed. Usually you want to see that there's good spring back in the crust. The bottom can be kind of charred. And usually I cool it on a rack for 3-4 minutes. It is a big learning curve, so don't get discouraged. It took me a very long time to get a good product, and I'm still learning every time. So good luck, have fun.